I could drive up there. But
what was the number one thing that you noticed that was super important about the portfolios that you can tell people that want to apply to CalArts?
So for CalArts, for character animation, they want lots of figure drawing. They want people that can draw.
Hence drawing from life.
Hence drawing from life. They want people that can draw. They don't want to be teaching you like the basics of drawing when you're there. They want you to know that already. And you know, and having some creative ideas is good. You know, those 2 years I was at SMC, I had like a short-lived painting career, which is kind of funny. Like I was doing all these paintings for art shows. I just met some people also in the SMC program that were doing all these downtown art shows at the time, which was really fun. So I had a lot of that stuff too, which I think kind of showed like, hey, here's, you know, drawing skills, and then here's just some straight up creative stuff.
Did you get it on your first try?
I did. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Tried it 3 or 4 times.
Good job.
Yay. Yeah, so that was, and I wasn't expecting to get it on the first try. Like I was expecting to, like, because I was going to finish the animation program at SMC, so I figured I'll apply this year and then I'll get it next year when I'm done with the program here, and then I got in right away. So
did you end up finishing at SMC, or you ended up just going right to CalArts?
I went to right to CalArts, but I did, I kind of switched gears at some point. I ended up doing 2 years at SMC, but at some point I switched gears from doing animation classes to just really doing the critical studies classes. And I just like super did that. Like I did every semester, you know, spring, summer, winter, fall. So by the time I went to CalArts, I had no critical studies classes. I could just do art classes, which was really great. I mean, I still did 4 years, but I didn't have to do any
Extra crit.
Yeah.
I forget what
I only took one because I didn't want to take a real, I'm not good at math. I didn't want to take a real math class, which at SMC it would have been a real math class.
Yeah.
And I heard at CalArts say this class called Math as Art.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Our colleges always have like bullshit math.
Yeah.
Like a bull, yeah.
Otis had the same.
It was
at
great.
ours, it was like a goal. They would say in every single class, it was a goal to pertain every single class towards their major. So like our projects were they would surround, you know, whatever major we were in. So that was really nice. We were like, cool, we don't have to do real like academic stuff.
You know, I like most of the real academic stuff. Like I liked at SMC, like I really liked taking, I don't know, and maybe, you know, it's just, I think it's maybe interesting for people to know if they're in the same boat. But yeah, I had a tough time at school. Like you know, in grade school, I you know, I think I'm always one of those people that just, I have a hard time paying attention. I doodle over everything.
Sure.
You know, I had a teacher at some point that thought that maybe I was like learning disabled, and she made me do all these tests. And when that happened, I was just like, fuck this. I hate this. I don't want to learn anything. And I think I was mostly just bored. Like I just didn't learn the same way as everybody else.
Sure.
And
you knew that wasn't the path for you.
yeah, and you know, but it made me really hate on school. So I thought I hated school. And then when I started SMC and I started taking like, you know, I got to pick the classes. So I was taking like, you know, the history of the Vietnam War and like, you know, psychology and, you know, all these things that were so interesting. And I was getting A+ and everything. Like I was like, oh, I actually really like this if it's topics I'm interested in.
Yeah, it's actually really fascinating. A lot of like Northern European, Scandinavian countries, that's how they teach. It's like you take a 5-year-old, it's like, what are you interested in? And those are things they usually excel in. And even it's like, I'm interested in science, and then when they get 12, they're like, I'm no longer interested in science. I like history or psychology or whatever. They can change, but it's like the things you learn are still inform the things you even do later. I'm sure someone who's like really interested in science, they later on move on to psychology or like math or history, that things they learned in those courses inform their actions later, which also makes them more developed, more well-rounded, just things we don't do. Because now, unfortunately, I'm going to rant, but the American education system is always teaching to make factory workers.
Yeah.
And we've been doing that for 60 years. And instead of teaching people like, what interests you, you would do better at that, as opposed to like, do the math, do the algebra, and learn the history from A to B, and that's it.
Fill in the bubbles, take the test, pass.
Yeah,
I'm like
test.
by choice learning things that I never used to actually be interested in when I was a kid. Now I have interest in it, and now I'm going out of my way to research stuff. Like out of the blue, like I like reading about weird things, and it's like, why couldn't it be like that, you know, back then?
Yeah, well, I think because, you know, and I think it's really interesting right now, you know, all the teachers in the LA USD school district are trying to get smaller classes and all that stuff, which they won, which is really cool. I think that's just part of the problem, is like, hey, you have this poor teacher that's to deal with like 40 kids, and if somebody doesn't fit in this exact little box, they don't have the resources to deal with it.
Yeah, but the numbers are too high for individual attention.
Yeah, but I guess what I'm saying for anybody that's, you know, maybe feeling like the outcast artists out there, you know, I think a lot of us have probably gone through similar things where we had a hard time with the regular system. You know?
Should I do the intro again, or are we good to go?
No.
Great.
Oh, there we
Yeah,
go.
let's
We're
go.
good.
So there was an intro, and then there was about 45 seconds to a minute of awkwardness. That will serve as our musical intro today, just us rambling about nothing. And now, here we are.